Everybody, I want to do a follow-up video about the Sheriff Arpaio pardon, which is a pretty obnoxious thing for a president to do, especially one that's been in office as little time as Donald Trump has been in. A lot of times presidents don't like to pardon people because it's just really an abusive thing to do, because it bypasses the Congress, the Senate, and all the judicial process, the judges, the courts, the whole thing. And in like Arpaio's case, he'd already been convicted and he was just waiting for sentences. So everybody that put work into that case, Donald Trump basically said, fuck you. You know, whatever you did, whatever time that you spent, whatever resources that the federal government spent prosecuting Arpaio, whatever time they did investigating this, and whatever message they were trying to send to other law enforcement agencies about doing this, Trump just said basically, fuck it. You know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just pardon Arpaio. The ultimate fuck you. And that's why presidents don't like to do it. And they do it very rarely, and they do it seldomly, and they do it kind of like as they're leaving office, so there isn't a lot of backlash. But that's Trump. Get ready for this, man. He's going to start doing this more and more and more once he's figured out that he can do it without too much bullshit. And probably the last person he's going to pardon is himself. So he's basically acting without any kind of oversight or without any kind of worry about anything, because all he knows how to do, all he's going to start doing, is pardoning people, which is something that when people got elected, they should realize the guy that's going to do this or use this authority should never have been elected to the presidency of the United States, because there's no way to have any oversight or any way of ever holding him accountable for anything. So this is a crazy thing. The worst person in the world to give ultimate authority to is Donald Trump. You know, and Trump, you know, he has to pardon Arpaio. And Arpaio is, you know, by his own admission, kind of an asshole, you know, or he is an asshole. And the reason he says he's such an asshole, calls himself the toughest sheriff in the United States, or was the toughest sheriff in the United States, is because he likes to discourage crime by being rough, tough on prisoners. Brought back the chain gangs, puts them in pink jumpsuits, has them out in the Arizona desert in over 100-degree heat, brags about how little he feeds them, and he does this all because he says he doesn't want recidivism. He doesn't want people to come back into prison, so he's going to make it really rough on them. Well, the problem with something like that is you don't do that in a civilized society. You don't mistreat people in a civilized society to scare them into not doing things or not being reoccurring the crime that they had already committed, or scaring people from doing the crimes. You're not going to use this threat of fear that if I put you in prison, it's going to be like the Russian Gulag, and you're going to go to Siberia, and it's going to be that nobody will hear from you again. That's just not the society we live in. That's not the country we live in, and that's not the people we are. So Arpaio's idea of abusing people because he doesn't want him to come back to jail is pretty archaic. It's asinine, and on top of that, it's cruel. It's cruel, and people don't want to see that. People don't want that. I mean, whatever you think, you got to think deeply about. And this is a guy that Donald Trump pardons, unrepentant, abusive, brags about the abuse, and then wants people to give him the attaboys because they think that maybe he's the guy that's keeping people from going to prison or making crime go down because he likes to abuse people. No, he's doing this because he's that's his nature. That's who he is. That's what Arpaio is. He likes to do this stuff to people, which is really sick. It's almost like a disturbed individual. The other thing about this thing that's really weird is, you know, Trump, for whatever Trump really believes, which I don't think any of us will ever know for sure because he's such a con man, he sure is playing up the race thing. I mean, anybody that's on, you know, Arpaio was racially profiling people, the whole Charlottesville thing, he's really trying to pull or get some traction with people that have a really race bias. Now, I don't know. Maybe Donald Trump's not a racist. Because like I say, you'll never know what Donald Trump is because he's a con man. And he'll tell you whatever you want to hear, and he'll do whatever you want to do. But right now, he's playing to that group of people successfully, and they're being played by this guy. Because you never know what Donald Trump is. If you think that Donald Trump's one way, go back and watch some YouTube videos, because you'll go back and find another way Donald Trump used to be. You think Donald Trump's in favor of the Second Amendment, go back and watch a few videos. You think Donald Trump's a hard Republican, go back and watch a few videos. This guy doesn't, he's a chameleon. He'll do whatever it takes. You think he connects with white middle-class working people, go back and watch some videos about how he used to be a blue blood Democrat out of New York. So this guy is just crazy. But the thing about it is that the abuse of power, as displayed by Arpaio, gives you some idea of how this guy wants to act unilaterally outside of our form of government of checks and balances. So it was a very obnoxious thing to do, very, very asshole thing to do. And, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of cases that Donald Trump could have reviewed for pardon. A lot of people probably maybe deserved a pardon, that had been working on it for years and had gone through the whole process of getting the pardon. He just, none of that stuff. Let's just go right to Arpaio, because Arpaio, first of all, Arpaio was a birther, supported him in the whole birth thing. And secondly, Arpaio's playing the race thing and the anti-immigration thing, which is what Donald Trump wants to be right now. So he's really pulling on those people. He's pulling on them hard. And they need to wake up and realize what this guy's all about. He's about abuse of power. And abuse of power is scary, because the abuse of power isn't the way our government is supposed to operate. Abuse of power is what a dictator does. What happens in slave states, not in democracies or places where you have branches of government that separate power. So anyway, this was a very obnoxious, overbearing, in-your-face fuck you thing that Trump did. And instead of people being happy about it and thinking it was a great thing, they ought to be thoroughly disgusted with it. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Thanks.